What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo, presented as always by Pure Options, precision-crafted cannabis. Lord knows if you're a Michigan State fan right now, you hopefully are well familiar with Pure Options. It has gotten you through the last few days. Maybe if you're a Michigan fan and you're just adding to the high on life. And I do think we probably have more Michigan fans joining us today to revel in MSU fans' miseries than usual. But go to pureoptions.com if you haven't yet. And I'm telling you right now, if you're suffering, this is the place for you. Pureoptions.com. Let them know Couch and the Rube sent you. You can join their Pure Perks loyalty program, and you'll enjoy the experience. Also, our Monday evening show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. And let me tell you a story about Muskox. Saturday night, leaving the press box after everything, the game, the shenanigans, all of it. It's late into the evening. 37 degrees out. I'm parked a mile from the stadium. All I've got on is a Muskox flannel. Everybody else has a coat and hat. I felt fantastic. Kept me warm. I was wearing it all night. Wasn't too hot, but I get outside. It's that sort of transition. It just does so well for you. Looked great the whole night, as you saw. I was in my Talking Spartans video wearing it. Just trying to show up Solari a little bit. You too can look as good as me or as good as you can look. Go to pureoptions.com. Sorry, pureoptions.com. Go to gomuskox.com. When I hear Solari's voice, it throws me off. All right, fuck that. Enough of that drop. I hate that drop. Jesus. Sorry. I will. All right. If you want to look like me and feel like me, go muskox.com. And if you use the promo code FIXITINPOST, which we will not do with that start, but probably should, FIXITINPOST, all one word, $15 off your first flannel purchase.
Graham.
It's killing me here, man. Killing me. This is going to be, by the way, I think this is going to be a shit show tonight.
Why? Are you going to make it a shit show?
No, it's not my intent
Is that what your column was intended to do?
No.
Is make this show a shit show?
It's the way the show came together. So we do it, and we'll do our hot takes, and they'll be as average as ever.
Yeah.
But when you put out a call for hot takes, people are thinking one thing, they're angry about one thing. It morphs throughout the day. I sort of begin to edit them. Then I realize I'm going to have to do a column. So I come back to them later. Elon no longer keeps stuff organized, so you've got to, when you're on Twitter and you're trying to grab and edit people's hot takes that you haven't gotten before, it's all out of order. So if I miss yours, I apologize. These will not be as well edited as we're trying to do now with the Monday hot take. So if anything is going to kill the hot take show, it is tonight. Jason's going to get pissed off. He's going to lose his shit toward the end.
I'm having a good time already.
And
what are you talking about? I'm not pissed off at anything.
It's gonna
really
be,
not.
It's going to be wild. So it should be fun.
It's a great time to be alive as a Tigers and Lions fan. And
yeah,
Michigan State game was Saturday. It was fantastic.
We do have some Lions in here. So yeah, if you're looking for some positives, that is in here. Should I?
Well, if you could stop gaslighting people. You know what I'm saying? You were crazy, dude. I got to say, I was talking about you a lot today.
Uh-oh, what were you saying?
No, it was good things. I'm just saying, when you take a certain contrarian thing sometimes and people this is like the last thing people wanted to read about, right? Is this, the scrum afterwards and he's earned the right. And it's just I know that you're trying to do your job and trying to get people to react, but it just cracks me up.
Well, it's all that anybody wanted. They just wanted a different story. They wanted the reaction to what later happened with Clell Mullings. And
I think Michigan State fans are getting sick and tired of getting pushed around and shit and want somebody to defend them. And I thought Haller did a great job of defending them, but sometimes you need, I know the calm, cool approach is the way to go, but sometimes these fans, and I understand it, you want to be like, you know what, these guys get away with all this bullshit. You wanted charges against us, and now we have to just sit here and take it. I'm just sick and tired.
Well, it's what happened 2 years ago, really. It really comes down to that. And it was the way it was handled 2 years ago with Harbaugh sort of planting that seed that charges should be filed. And then
I think Sharon Moore handled it well today as well, because I think if Harbaugh was still the coach, this thing could have gone a little sideways. But I think Moore coming out and saying it's going to be handled internally, I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, but the column I wrote, and look, I think he has a chance to be a little bit of a hero here. Now, he may not, but if they suspend Mullings for a couple games, if Mullings did what it looked like on film, and if not, they got to explain that. They got to explain it because on film it looks like he's stomping on somebody. It might have been an MSU staffer underneath or an MSU play underneath, and he got pushed away from him. If that's not what was happening, if somebody was, say, grabbing his leg and punching up at him or something we can't see, or he's cleaning his cleats or there's a snake under there, whatever it might be, they got to explain it. Otherwise, the problem they have now, and this shouldn't have anything to do with criminal charges. The Washtenaw County DA screwed that up 2 years ago and should not have done that, period.
Savage.
And
a weirdo.
So that's not what this is. But the precedent in terms of suspending players, there were a lot of players on Michigan State's team, not all of them, but who didn't do anything worse than what Mullings did, and we're out like till the end of the season, like 4 more games. Why the Big Ten just sort of twisted and I don't know what the hell they were doing, but they didn't communicate it very well. So I think there's that. You're 2 years removed from that, and it's like, you have a situation here which is not the same situation, but you have a situation which warrants some of the same recourse, I think, and it's interesting. And this is going to be one of my takes. We're just going to talk a little free flowedly, on this game and the situation. So last night, for example, somebody I really like and respect, Matt Sheehan, whose podcast I do regularly. Oh, yeah. I've known him forever. Good guy. Well, not forever.
Did you get into it with Sheehan, too? The fuck?
I thought that's what you were talking about when you brought up the word gaslighting. I told him not to gaslight the fan base because he was calling for...
Well, thanks to Elon, I have to go to your page and scroll through your shit, and it's so hard because you tweet so much. So sorry, I missed that.
Whatever people think about Elon, he does not run a functional site the way it used to be. It is not great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, just hire some people, dude. If you're going to
and Elon at these Trump rallies is something else too.
Well, there's a lot of stuff there.
Anyway,
you
went at Sheehan too?
Well, I didn't mean to go at him, but this is what Sheehan did first, and I like Sheehan.
He started it.
Yeah, he started. Damn it, Matt. So his initial tweet.
How stupid.
Yeah, it was something like. Okay, 2 years ago, MSU. This was from yesterday. 2 years ago, MSU players were demanded to be put in jail and covered wall to wall for what happened in the tunnel. Mm-hmm. After Mullings, clear as day, stomps on MSU personnel. No stories remotely near the top of the page on Free Detroit News or MLive's pages. So he comes after people. There are a couple things that.
Welcome to the blue wall.
And I understand the frustration. I do get it. It is a little different circumstance than last year that it happened like right in front of Chris Solari and Kyle Austin and those guys, like they were it was like at their feet, number one. Like this situation when it happened, half the press box is like on their way to the elevator to get down. A lot of people don't even see it live. What they see is the initial tussle between Loveland and Jones and what sort of leads to it. But I don't think a lot of us realize exactly what happened with Mullings. And you don't know to what extent. It's just different. It's not quite as clear as day, number one. It was on the field, too, which is a different parameter. Now, you can argue the tunnel is still in the arena, and that should have been – but it's different, number one. So you have that. It's not the story of the game. 2 years ago, it was the story of the day, for sure. And this time it was not necessarily. It was Jonathan Smith's first game. It was this Michigan State team that got out to a great start, looked like they were in control, and then all of a sudden wasn't and sort of – got out-coached and outplayed down the stretch and blew the game. That was a bigger part of what the story of this thing was. So that was different. So you're writing one column. Then people have to remember, like, I know MSU fans are going to stew overnight over something like this and stew all day Sunday. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't live like that. People want, like, Wojo, the Detroit News, to write. You know what Wojo's night was? He finished his column off this game, probably got 4 hours sleep, was at Fox 2 to do a Lions pregame show at 9 a.m. and worked a 14-hour day covering the Lions.
Oh, what a grind.
I'm not saying it's a bad life. I'm saying he doesn't give two shits about Michigan and Michigan State on Sunday. You want to blame somebody on that? Blame Dan Campbell. Like, the Lions take up the oxygen. I'm just saying that
Are you gaslighting our audience?
I apologize.
You did it to Sheehan.
I understand where Sheehan's coming from. I understand where MSU fans are coming from. I understand that the perception that if the roles were reversed, that there would be more.
So are you apologizing to Matt Sheehan? Is this where you're going to do it?
No.
Are you not going to apologize?
I wouldn't expect.
It seemed like you were kind of just like you're trying to start some shit there.
No, I still like.
Are you a Michigan guy?
In life, we have to be able to disagree.
Are you joining the blue wall?
Welcome to.
Is that your second hot take? You're joining the blue. You know what? I've had enough. I'm just going to join the blue wall.
We ought to be able to disagree in life and still be close. I still respect.
But do you know how when you T does it sometimes, where she knows in the right moment, wrong moment, just to say the wrong thing. And you're like, why would you say that at this time right now? I'm suffering through. The 49ers just beat the Lions. Why would you say that? Right? You know what I'm saying? That's where people pounce on you, I think.
But here's the alternate side of that. What he probably doesn't realize is I was in a car ride home with a couple of them at 3 a.m. and then up till 7 or 8 working.
Grinding.
Well,
crushing tape.
You sleep till 1:45. You get up. You want to have a day that's not devoted to this fucking exhausting rivalry that I wish would go away.
Why? Why do you want it to go away? It makes you money. You should be happy. Honestly, I wish it was worse.
My wife makes enough that I could be okay. I shouldn't have said that. We'll
Couch retired.
Fix that in post.
I'm sure that.
Point being, your side of it is like, this isn't an all-consuming of life. It is my job though, and if there is, and I knew 100% we were going to get to this on Monday. I knew there would be press conferences. I knew Monday morning I was going to check in with Alan Haller and see where things were. He got right back to me. Yeah. I knew it was coming Monday, and it wasn't at the speed some people wanted, and I get why they stew, and I get the double standard, and I understand the frustration. Now, that was sort of the column I wrote today, and a lot of people around the Detroit Free Press that everybody was mocking. Their Michigan writer was the one who asked the follow-up about Mullings and specifically stomping on people. Sharon Moore forced him to answer that. Like, this is not some blue wall, existence here, right? So, in this situation, certainly. And so that was all. It's not. It's just.
I'm just saying the rivalry and the people talking about maybe it needs to take a 2 to 3 year break. Like, I'm not there. And yes, the slamming people with your helmet, I do not agree with that. But these guys are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds playing in a game produced by a money machine, and it's going to bring a level of you're going to be pissed off at the end of a game, shoving and stuff like that. But if there's a female staffer or whatever that's getting kicked on the ground, then we got to figure that shit out. But I don't want this rivalry to go away. I think it's great that we get it once a year, that we get to shit talk and stuff like that and have fun with it. But we're getting to like a level. I'd rather just talk about how the coaching staff for Michigan State kind of screwed over the players in that game, because Michigan State was the better team. And if you're Michigan and you're a Michigan fan and you want to talk shit after that game, and you want to call people little brother, you're still 5-3. I got to say. And next year with Aiden Childs and Marsh, I'm more excited than I would be as a Michigan fan. You won your national title. That's fantastic. But I'm just saying, Jonathan Smith, he got a piece of that rivalry yesterday or Saturday night, and it looked and appeared in the handshake. He's like, I don't know what I got myself into.
Let's go there. One quick thing I want to say. Lastly, on the other, and we'll get back into the punishment stuff as people's quick takes come up. But I do think the Big Ten is going to have to step in here. I do think the precedent's been set.
You trust them to?
I don't think this one goes away. I do think it's one player. It's just got to be a couple games. It is what it is. You can't do that unless there's some really great excuse. You really
what? The Michigan's been getting away with it for years. I mean, is this going to be some sort of like retribution or something? But yeah, I mean, why can't you just talk to people that were on the field? I figure it's an easy thing to kind of figure out. Let's talk to the Michigan State staffers and talk to everybody involved.
I mean, I just think that if I were Sharon Moore, I would suspend him I'd say he's gonna sit for a couple games. We can't have that. He already admitted they can't have that, right? I thought it was well handled by him, and you would be the guy you got 2 new coaches. You're the one bringing it down. A lot of the frustration people have with Harbaugh, that's all gone. If you're the guy who says, we can't have this, and there is accountability, there is an admitting of fault, then that goes a long way. It really would. I think it would go a long way for a lot of people. They still won the game. You'd be the coach who won the game, who kicked the other coach's ass with a team that wasn't very good either, and then did the right thing. I think that's the way to go. To your point on the coaching, I did think that I thought Michigan State had a great start to the game coaching and then got out-coached. And it wasn't just the mistake on 4th and 2, which was a bad non-call timeout, and Jonathan Smith has talked about it repeatedly that he screwed that up. It was interesting today. He said that Aiden Childs, on the first drive, their in-helmet communication wasn't working, so they were signaling differently. Mm-hmm. But that's still on him to call a timeout. So I think they were a little out of – because the rest of the drive worked amazing. The bigger issue I had is I went back and watched the game again on Sunday is I just think you have 2 guys who are advantages, maybe 3 guys. And Nate Carter was tremendous. He was unbelievable. But it's Nick Marsh, and it's Childs, and maybe it's Foster. But it's really that passing combination. And they just didn't do enough with it. They didn't try enough with it. And I get that some other stuff was working. And so when you go back through and you start saying, where should have they gone? There are a few times. I mean,
you get Marsh the ball. I don't give a shit.
That's right. And you see it with the championship, or sorry, with the touchdown, the move he makes in his tight quarters, underneath. Like you go deep throw, you make that guy a bigger part of your game plan and a bigger part of the offense. You get him in his hands. He's a difference maker for you. And they didn't do it enough. I thought that was I just didn't think they did a really good job. They ran the ball a lot better than I expected. And if they punch that first one in and they don't turn it over before halftime and it's, 14-7, is that a different game, different finish? Maybe.
But can we talk about Lindgren for a second?
Sure.
Like the 3rd and 1, the slow developing. Like and it's not just Lindgren. I see it in college football and in the NFL sometimes. Like on 3rd and short, 4th and short, and you run a slow developing run play. I swear to God, there's nothing more that drives me fucking insane than a 3rd and 1 slow developing play, especially when you have an offensive line that you do at Michigan State. It ain't good. So why are you running slow developing plays? Quarterback sneak. I don't want Childs to get an unnecessary hit, but I swear to God, it's way better than a slow developing play.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was.
The coaches let these guys down, man.
Coaches did not have a great day.
Yep.
They didn't have a great day. I did not think it was, however, and I know Jonathan Smith today was very much out there in his press conference talking about, that he'll never forget this. This was. I should pull up the quote. Hold on. Give me some off here.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
I see the stars come out of the sky. Yeah, the bright in the hollow sky.
Okay, wait a second.
Absolutely. I mean,
anyway, he goes. After experiencing this, you hear about the former players and how what this thing means. After experiencing this thing one time, this thing is different, and that crystallized for me Saturday. Look, Lynn Henning tweeted out about Bo Schembechler realized the same thing in '69. Like it was like he had not been through it. You think about D'Antonio and Saban; they had lived in this rivalry before they got the head coaching job. So everybody who's been the Michigan State head coach, other than Jonathan Smith, over the last 40, 50 years, has understood the rivalry.
But what did we say before the game, though? We said that Smith, it's going to have to happen organically where he gets that in his blood.
And it happened.
You can't just all of a sudden watch YouTube videos and shit they send you and go, oh, okay, I'm in the rivalry now.
No,
I think he's in it now because of what happened on Saturday night.
And people are pissed off, and they're blaming him, and you feel it. You feel it as a coach. You feel it around you like this is just – and so that
he's not stupid. He knows that the coaching staff blew it.
But I also don't think that's why they lost the game. I don't think that's how they blew it. I don't think they blew it with lack of understanding of the rivalry. I think that's an overstated thing. I think they blew it with decisions and game plan. If those had been good, they would have understood the rivalry fine if they won the game. They would have understood. I don't think that had anything to do. I don't think that not calling a timeout on 4th and 2. It's like, don't understand the rivalry. Don't get football. Delay a game.
Not in that instance, though. But to have it to where he was mentioning how shocked he was by when he was in the big house before pregame and everything. It's just like that. It's like, well, you've been through rivalry games before, Jonathan Smith. Like before, it just not maybe Michigan State, but you know what that means in football terms. Yeah. And to be kind of a little bit shocked by it is just just kind of weird.
Look, I think it's a sick, jarring, exhausting rivalry. I think it is. I think even if you're at Oregon State out there in the West, it's like.
Yeah, but it is what you let it be to you, though. Why is it so exhausting to these people? It isn't exhausting to me. Because like you said, some people can move on. Well, when you work till 4 a.m. like you do, I can understand. It's exhausting. I'm just saying as a fan watching it, it's just like the next day, it's complete ass, but, I don't know.
You know what else is ass? I had a really nice little Jackson Kohler column planned for this evening. That I don't know if
we got time for it.
I don't know if it's going to get done. I may do it overnight. Who knows for the morning? But they play tomorrow evening. They had the worst time basketball media day I've ever seen. I haven't written one thing off it. You spend hours doing interviews on all these guys. Then it's 2 days before Iowa in football. So you're not going to write before that. They have this great performance against Iowa. Everybody's fired up about football. It's Michigan week. And then that game lingers into the following week. And it's like, what? It's basketball getting off to a rough start here.
Speaking of your column, though, you made me laugh when you tweeted out from the show account about how we were going to do the show at night, and then Upper Deck Jerk guy came in with something funny. You were like, what, so no column? You don't want a column then? Like you were like we couldn't live our life or move on until tomorrow until Well, I guess you don't want my column?
I think you're reading it the wrong tone. I was trying to be like facetious. I'm not being serious. It's not like I like donuts, man. Don't fuck with my donuts.
I didn't know what kind of mood you're in. I mean, you're flying off at the off the hip here, and I just think, just making sure. It just made me laugh.
No, it was a good day. I got a new driver's license. I passed my vision test again.
Did you use the same photo, or
No,
did you
I got a
request
new
a new
one.
one? See, I got to do that because I got the same one from like 2014, 2012.
I didn't even know you could. I can't do it because I stepped up to the real ID or whatever it is, the max, the top, the biggest license.
While you were
can
on
get.
a treadmill, it was impressive.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I did make him take the photo again and got lower because of the angle. I looked
the
at
chin down.
Yeah. Nobody, just you're 6 foot and they still have the camera still pretty low. You're like, this is for 5 foot people.
Yeah. Us fat neck guys, we know how to know the camera angle.
The woman after me was in a wheelchair. They were doing something like that.
Jesus. Did you push her over?
That's not what I do.
By the way, can we talk about the 0 penalties for Michigan and the ejection of Jordan Turner, which happened in a commercial break? I come back from the bathroom. Now he's out for the first half of the Indiana game. I mean, we just, after glossing over all of those things, I think those two things, college refs are ass, right? 0 penalties on Michigan. It's hard to not have a conspiracy theory. I'm so sorry if you're a Michigan State fan.
It's bad.
It really is, though.
0 penalties. It's like, are they that perfect?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe from good football teams, you'd be like, okay. Like if Georgia had 0 penalties, came in, won 54-14, something like that.
Yeah, no. Look, Michigan State blew this
wall,
thing.
man.
They blew this thing though. They could have won it, and it's not that they were like you watched that second half, and Michigan was the best pass rush I had seen against them, better than Ohio State and Oregon. Like in terms of time, like you just looked at that differently, and so I do think that. I think the coaching staff, because Nate Carter said this after the game, they looked at this and said, I think we can run against these guys. Yeah. I think we're going to have trouble protecting Aiden Childs. And they built a game plan around it, and it worked for a while. The problem is you still got to live with your game breakers. And look, if Nate Carter's one of those, use him. He was great. They used him in the passing game. You keep using him. And Nate Carter played a game that if he can begin to duplicate that and be that guy more often over the next year and a half, I don't know that he will be, but that's a really good sign, right? He's not done at the end of this year.
I just can't believe Michigan State had the ball for 37 minutes, 352 total yards, and lost that game. Like it's just that's what chaps my ass more than any post game shove, whatever.
Well, again, that's why I said this.
And Jordan Turner,
wasn't the story. That wasn't the story. Now I know people got a little upset about the Loveland line that he can be insufferable, but I was more of a dig at him that he was insufferable. Yeah. But the point is, you can talk when you win, and to a degree. Now, it's easier when you're leaving for the NFL after the year to say shit.
But even if he was coming back, they're going to still have that same attitude no matter what the helmet or whatever, who's underneath the helmet. And it's fine. I just think it's kind of played out, and it's like it doesn't matter when you're 5-3 and talking about little brother and shit like that. It doesn't matter to me. I'm more talking about Jordan Turner. Can we change the rule in college football for this targeting bullshit? Yeah. And why does he have to be out for a half against Indiana? And by the way, Indiana minus 7.5. I mean, I can't get talked into this. It might have to go up to like 14 and a hook. Michigan State plus 14.5.
So wait,
Indiana is going to hammer Michigan State. Their offense is nonstop pressure. I don't know. Maybe I need the week to figure this out. And
we'll
you and Harry can talk me into
it. I think
but
pound for pound, Michigan State will be okay as long as MSU's players. Oh, you're saying Michigan State will be okay?
I think they'll be. Well, I think that they'll be okay. But Cignetti and that offense, I just don't think they're going to be able to stop them. And I think 7.5 right now. I mean,
as long as Michigan State's players and coaches don't treat the week like the fans, and they can get over this Michigan game, because if they're still thinking about all this stuff, then they're screwed against Indiana. Yeah. This is the key.
That's why you wake up tomorrow, shake it all off. We start a new week, right?
Got to put it behind you. Got to forget about it, and it's hard to do. But it helps if MSU fans aren't reminded. I would tell, if you want to do your part as a fan, I would give yourself a moratorium at like midnight tonight. Keep bitching, do whatever you got to do. Be angry about what I wrote or anybody wrote or who's ever said what. And at midnight tonight, think about hoops for a day because they're playing a basketball game the next day, and then think about Indiana, which is still a really interesting game. Because one of the things that I asked Jonathan Smith today that I think is fascinating is you have a program in Indiana that is having an unbelievable year. They are the darlings of college football, right? And yet Michigan State would have been at least 6-0 with that schedule. Now these last 2 weeks, who knows? But at least 6-0. And I asked Smith if it was better to like know all your warts and go through all the hell they went through and the schedule they went through.
Don't coach my team.
Or no, he wasn't sure. I mean, it is true because we don't actually know. But there's an argument based on what Indiana's doing that it's better to have Indiana's path and feel great about yourself to the point that then you can hang with better opponents. And maybe that wouldn't have happened the same way.
I love Signetti. He reminds me of Eric Lacey's dad, Bill Lacey, when he puts his hands on the side of his hips, like back when he used to coach us in intramural basketball, 7th, 8th grade. Love Signetti.
He's a hell
Not
of a
this
coach.
week, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk some more Indiana football this fall. Yeah, the Jordan Turner thing, the targeting call is, I think there needs to be different levels, sort of like soccer, red card, yellow card, where based on intent and launching and stuff, if they want to really protect people, you can have a...
You can tell if you've watched football for a certain amount of time whether there's intent in one of those hits.
Yeah.
Easily.
And you
watch it 3 times.
You can have different levels of being punitive. You could have you're out for a series. You're out for the next series. You're out for a quarter. You're certainly not out next week, too, for the first half. That's too much, Like, that's for this stuff, and especially when every quarterback sneak is targeting by the quarterback and is never called because they put their heads down and they go forward, which is exactly
how did we let this rule pass?
I know.
Though? Like, oh yeah, by the way, if you do it in the second half, you're going to be kicked out for another half. It's like the Tipper Gore. I mean,
people don't want Junior Seau's. That's what it comes down to. We don't want the head.
That happens at Junior Seau. What, you shoot yourself in the chest if you?
You don't want the head trauma.
Target?
Yeah, that leads to CTE. That's what I'm saying. Dave Duerson, all that stuff, right? That's what we're trying to avoid. All right, you want to talk some Lions?
Iguna Yaba Gita Jared Goff.
I received a text message from Michigan fan Jordan yesterday, not about Michigan State, but about the Lions. And when we were blowing out Tennessee yesterday, about like, man, I'm kind of bored. Is this boring? And I'm like, no, I thought it was absolutely fantastic, especially the way Mason Rudolph was kicking our ass in the first quarter and a half. By the way, I know that we need a defensive end after Hutch going out. I love Malcolm Rodriguez. I love Anal Zone, but and Nowaski. But I love that Nowaski gets an interception yesterday, gets absolutely juked out of his shorts by Mason fucking Rudolph, and all these Lions fanboys are like, we got our linebacker. No, we need a linebacker. Absolutely need a linebacker. As bad as we need a defensive end.
It's funny, I woke up and I just checked my phone, worried about some things. What mistake did I make and what I wrote? Anyway, it's like,
was it Sheehan?
It was not shit. It was not Matt. But it's like 1:45 p.m. And the first thing I see is a tweet from you that says, which by the way, the first thing you do is check Twitter and you get the rube, like re-examine your life.
Yeah.
Anyway, it says something like, how the hell are we letting Mason Rudolph scorch us? I'm like, what the hell are the Lions?
All caps, like a weirdo.
Yeah, but the problem I had, too, is I had the Lions in like 46 teasers, most of which had already lost. But it was like, oh, crap, what's going on?
Yeah, but you were
here?
scared of the 11.5.
And it was 14-14 at that point.
Understood.
Yeah, and so, yeah.
Yeah, but you could tell that they weren't stopping our offense.
They left Goff in a little long. I thought was my only criticism. And then they still...
But how long should you leave them in when in a certain blowout? Because we know obviously Tennessee wasn't going to come back that far, but you put Hendon Hooker in the third quarter with like 10 minutes to go?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd go in pretty early.
Well, I mean, you want them out till week 10, so of course I should know your answer. But
I think if you have guys you cannot win a Super Bowl without, and you can win the game without them, you get them out.
I'm absolutely with you, especially after seeing what happened to Hutchinson and all those guys. But man, it was just, I don't know. Are we there yet to where as a Lions fan, it's fucking bizarro world, and I love every minute of it. But, I love blowouts. Like, when you don't even have to worry about it. We had people over yesterday shooting the shit. It's just a great time to be alive as a Lions fan.
It is. I mean, think about...
I love the first thing you saw, though, was my Mason Rudolph tweet. Like,
that's what I woke up to. That's like my eyes open to that. Yeah, it's just...
Sorry about that, yeah.
I got one last take, and then we'll move on to the listener hot takes, unless you have a bunch more. Do you have more?
I got a couple weekend things,
okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, so this is a little off kilter, but I was thinking about it just watching Ohio State struggle with Nebraska. I think there is no point to Ohio State football.
All right.
Hear me out.
Oh, I'm hearing.
Okay. The degree of pleasure that they can get versus the degree of constant misery is so tipped towards misery on the scale that what's the point? Just like if they were to win a national championship, I'm sure they'd be happy for like an hour. If they win the Big Ten this year, happy for an hour. But if they don't do everything perfectly, like they're it is just misery for them constantly. The ability to win, and they're unhappy, they're angry. I mean, look, it wasn't pretty. They can't run the football, and it's not great. But my God, just following people who are Ohio State fans on Twitter, watching that discourse, watching Ryan Day blow a gasket, like you can tell he's not having fun. That whole situation looks awful. It doesn't look. I'd rather go play. I mean, now the NIL money's different, but I'd rather go play D3 football at Alma or something like that, and just enjoy myself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just saying, it does
a lot
not
of money there.
If you're a fan of any sports team, and I understand there are bad teams where you're constantly in misery, but the hope is to get good, and when they get good, the pleasure is great enough that it's worth it. But if when your team is great, you're unhappy, and they're constantly great and you're constantly unhappy, then just do something like re-examine why are we doing.
But
this.
when the Lions become that, that's not going to get old.
No,
I want to be
what I'm
good.
saying.
I want to be fucking elite.
The Lions will never be that. The Lions will never be what Ohio State football is, and never be that. Anyway, that's just my idea. There's no point in Ohio State football.
Have you ever made a bet? Like, have you ever talked about a bet on the show and then didn't sprinkle and then regretted it?
Yes.
I did that with Freddie Freeman. I gave it out on Friday's show.
And you didn't do it.
MVP. Well, I did go to. I was locked out. I did it before the game. I waited too long, obviously, and it locked me out. So I was like, all right, whatever. It's 33-1, and then he hits that grand slam. By the way, Garrett Cole was dominating that game. 88 pitches. Like, what are we doing? Why are we paying these guys like Scooble? If we're going to pay him $30+ million, right, and we're in game 1 of the World Series, he better pitch 115, 20 pitches. Why can't these guys pitch anymore? Why can't they pitch anymore?
You asking? I don't have an answer.
I don't know, man. It just pisses me off that these guys, you wait all season long. You're in the World Series. I get it. You want them if the series extends to 6 or 7 games, the possibility of having Cole. But why are we babying these fucking guys where it's like, 88 pitches, but we want to save him for game 6? Like, he can't pitch 120, and then all of a sudden, game 6, he can't start again? Like, what are we doing?
You think this late in the season? The other thing I would like to see more with pitchers is once they've been paid. Like, I get it. If you're like, if I'm Tarek Skubal and I'm like a year and a half from getting like the paycheck, I'm a little more careful.
Totally understand that,
yeah. But if once you get like $350 million, just run my arm out. I'm good. Whatever we got to do, I'm here to win. I'm paid to get the job done, and in the postseason, whatever that means.
By the way, I'm not apologizing to Oregon. Your boy Brett Bielema can't cover.
No,
and he's morbidly obese. I'm not Notre Dame. I don't owe them an apology either. But it was an impressive win by them. But anyway, all right, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a really quick break, reset. When we come back, we are going to get into
Couch's blue wall bullshit.
I don't even know what these hot takes look like. If we missed some of yours, I try to edit them for a while so there's not duplications, and then
great.
It wasn't done well. I'm going to tell you right now, this is not. I don't think this is going to be a good show, but I'm just going to put that out
great
there
so far.
But a lot of Michigan State talk coming up here. A lot of Michigan State, Michigan. Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Pure. Give me some MGs. Some Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis. Go to pureoptions.com. Join the Pure Perks loyalty program. I'm telling you, it is worth it. It's very cool that you can download the app, sign up. They all of a sudden will send you the latest deals, things you're interested in, events. It's very cool, straight to your inbox. And our Monday night show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. You know how we feel about these guys, and a great way to, if you're looking for a gift, if you're starting to think about the holiday season, think about Muskox Flannels. It'll show people that you care about them. If you get something of that quality and that comfort that makes them feel and look that good, again, go muskox.com. Promo code is FixItInPost. Fix It in Post for $15 off your flannel purchase. We'll be right back.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis, and our Monday evening show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. All right, it is time to dig into your hot takes, your baked takes, your sensible takes, all of them sensible, all that good stuff.
Your hate towards Graham.
There's quite a bit of that in here too. So whatever you've got, and Dominic, I'm just going to brace for it. Dominic's got like a 5-pack right at the beginning that's got some anti-couch in it, so it's pretty early up there. So anyway.
All right, Eric Schultz up first. For someone who supposedly won't last long, Sharon Moore sure coach circles around Jonathan Smith. If the coaching staff are flipped, MSU wins by 10. Can't happen in this game.
Yeah, I really liked the game plan early on. Like, it was bizarre how it happened, too. I mean, I understand the gaffe and the mistake of not calling a timeout there, and it was exacerbated by the missed field goal. But I didn't think – I mean, that's a mistake, and that stuff happens. And it shouldn't happen, but that's one of those things that shouldn't happen, but it does. The reason they were – I just thought the lack of playing to what had been their strength against Iowa and – what had been their strength against Maryland, what had gotten them a win on the road early in the year was those two long passes, right, to Nick Marsh. And it worked once to Montori Foster, where he came back for one, right? Worked underneath to Marsh. I just thought there should have been more attempts at it, and especially when the game turned. It's one thing when you're running the ball in the first quarter, when you've got 100 or you got 93 yards rushing or whatever it was in the first quarter. Just do that. Nobody's, and I loved the way they ran on third down and long and made it once, came close another. I love that was a changeup and something they saw and they were effective. There's no gripes there. But man, some of there just seemed like there's got to be some opportunities in there to go with your weapons and or to go with your receiver. You know, the guys who've made you difficult to defend at times, and I just didn't think they did enough of that.
Dominic, number one, you said you think that was reported that Michigan smeared feces all over the locker room in 2018. It fucking absolutely was not, Graham. It was only discussed at length on the message boards, and it happened. Maybe they're just waiting on more sourcing like Matt Weiss. Two, I understand you have to be to toe the line to not come off as a fan media, but Jesus fucking Christ, Grammy. Colston Loveland can say what he wants because he's 3-0. Yeah, Maybe he can, but that doesn't mean he isn't just another hypocritical bitch-ass cuckboy from that trash school. 3, you do not have to always give the flip side. Call them what they fucking are. Yeah, Smith coached like a bitch, but Colston Loveland is the guy at the bar who sucker punches, hides behind his buddies, then goes to Denny's and retells it like he was the fucking red bandana man. And bonus take. Contrarian Graham aside, Jonathan Smith and his dudes coach like scared little boys Saturday night. To completely ignore such a ridiculous talent in Marsh when their number one corner is out is pathetic. Nobody is calling for the heads, but wake the fuck up. And extra bonus take. Stop servicing the Dan Grafes and Jay Riemenschneiders. They'll still listen to the pod. You don't need to excuse Loveland's bitch ass to keep them invested. Also, Haller is kind of a pussy who never sticks up for us publicly, regardless of how kind his eyes are.
Dominic, it's good to have you back. So good to have you back. So I'll go into a couple of these. Number one, nobody is servicing the Dan Grafe and Jay Riemenschneider. They're valued listeners, though, and
Welcome to the Blue Wall.
that they're not on my mind though when I'm thinking of what I'm writing. So, but they're valued listeners, just like you, Dominic.
Is Haller kind of a pussy? I don't think so. I thought he handled it well. I mean, I just can understand where Michigan State fans kind of want him to come out and go, but he did kind of say that, right? Like, you know, I'm going to make sure that people can hear about this stuff. Right?
I don't think he is at all. No, I think that the thing that he is, if he gets burned occasionally by the Big Ten, it's because he's tried to be pragmatic through them on things, and maybe that hasn't worked at times. It'll be interesting to see what happens here because you can tell he's trying to be. But he also doesn't have the recourse to, like, if he comes out and says, hey, these guys should be suspended or this is unacceptable, this guy
I want
specifically.
charges.
Yeah, and that doesn't get it. Well, actually, it got it done with. It gets it done if you know the Washtenaw DA, I guess. But it does. It doesn't do you any good. It really doesn't. You're better to have a good relationship with the Big Ten. You're better to cool the rivalry. You're better to try to get things done. I think the way he's trying to do them, and if it doesn't work,
but every once in a while you can go, hey, right? What's going on here? It's okay to do that,
and that's sort of what he's. I think it's sort of what he's done today. Now you can want something more forceful. It did not stick out to me. That it wasn't forceful enough. You know what I mean? It was, I don't know. It wasn't like I walked away from the things he said when I was talking to him this morning and then at the press conference and thought, man, this guy's he's really got to tear him out. I mean, because a couple things. One, when you lose, you're never going to look great doing this. That's the other thing. You know, if you really you got to be, I think you lean into the complaint a little too much, it looks whiny. And I think that's the other thing. To the feces in the locker room. I actually asked Solari about this. I was like, "Is this been reported? Like, have we not gotten into that?" And he didn't think it had either. Now, neither one of us knew at the time, so that's partly on MSU. So everybody who says something's just common knowledge, hey, let us know. Let somebody know. Like, reach out at the time, because when you do it like a year and a half later, like I don't know when I knew. I don't know that day. It's not really the same story.
Hey, Graham, we have feces. There was feces.
A year and a half ago, there was feces in a locker room. I'm not writing that story tomorrow. You know, like, you know.
Column.
Yeah. You know, and maybe we're just not that well sourced. But there are people, there should always be people who are. I would say there are always people willing to write that. And if nobody wrote it, Comp didn't write it, nobody wrote it, like,
what?
Then, you know, there are lots of people who are happy to take down Michigan, who are associated with Michigan State media, who would more than willingly write that.
Hondo. Ryan Allen next. Feels like the coaching staff had a perfect game plan early to set up play action and go deep in the second half. Problem was the coaching staff never did it. They continued to run on almost every first down instead of play action, deep ball sprinkled in. Biggest mistake in my opinion.
Yeah, there were a number of them, and it was and obviously the way the game turned too. Like, it felt like even at halftime when things had already started to go a little against them, it should have been 14-7. 10-7 at worst, they're up. And obviously Michigan missed an extra point, too. You don't count on that. That's why I keep saying 7 for Michigan. They just never – they looked like – they didn't look like they had an adjustment for what Michigan did. And I think one of the things that Jonathan Smith did today is they did have some breakdowns on the quarterback stuff with Orji. Like that – I mean, that stuff didn't look great defensively. But
you come off a national championship, and those are your two quarterbacks.
no, it's not great for Michigan.
I just don't get. I don't understand that.
Michigan's got tough days ahead. It was a huge win for Michigan, though. It was an enormous,
Totally. I'm talking about the
enormous
quarterback.
win.
How Michigan can't get a quarterback, though.
Right.
Just, I mean, I know they had McCarthy, but after him, I mean,
Because
they have those two guys.
There is a free fall that doesn't happen because they won this game. At least, you know what I mean. There is a level that you fall to in your down transition year that's like still beating Michigan State, the rival, in state, because Ohio State, even though they couldn't run the ball against Nebraska, I don't think that game's going to go well for Michigan later on.
Munfield Keg next. The Big Ten needs to step in and suspend both Loveland and Mullings and anybody in that skirmish. Anthony Jones should get the longest suspension for taking the bait. I'm sick of this happening, and if the Big Ten doesn't do something, it will just keep happening. It's going to keep happening in this rivalry when guys are going to get so hyped up and
Loveland shouldn't
excited about this game, right?
Yeah, Loveland shouldn't be suspended. I understand it's a little bit of a headbutt there, and they were both, the final play of the game and kneeling, they were both going at each other pretty aggressively talking. That's all part of it. I didn't think anything else in the coming together there. Maybe there's a swing I missed or something like that, but I didn't think anything else. The rest of that's just football.
Loveland headbutting it kind of started that whole thing.
Well,
so if you're going to suspend someone, why wouldn't it be him, though?
I think Jones was a little aggressive on a kneel down play defensively too. Like you could, I'm whatever. It wasn't. I'm not saying Loveland's not a douche, right? I don't know. He certainly had some douche-like qualities to his behavior in his little brother stuff.
He's got a stupid-looking face.
And the thing about the little brother comments is, the last time that stuff all came out, and I get it, you're doing it to get under people's skin, and you do that, and it's trash talk, and I respect that element of it. But last time Michigan did that, the next 10 years were not great. And all that has actually happened now. I don't know that I would continue to go back there, except for that how much it gets under Michigan State's skin. And it still does to this day.
Good. I hope it gets under Jonathan Smith's skin for 2025. Get pissed off. Let's do it. JH710. MSU went from being the aggressor versus Iowa to a team and staff cosplaying as kittens versus Michigan. Why not let Childs throw the ball around? They're right where I expected them to be before the season started, but man, that's a game I expected them to win.
The game didn't look anything like I thought it would be. That's what surprised me. I didn't think they would be able to run the ball against Michigan, and they were tremendous out of the gate.
Well, you didn't expect that at Nate Carter either.
Right. I didn't expect that level. And the thing is, Nate Carter, that's the school he wanted to go to. He went to a camp there. That was his dream. And his first time playing on that turf since a camp when he was a kid. He's got to bring that sort of energy. That was a guy who understood what it meant to play against Michigan. He's himself got to bring that energy and that performance every week. But what I mean, the game just looks so different than what I expected. So that's what I'm still a little confused about. The way they ran the ball after running it well against Iowa, I mean, these are really positive signs. They won't face another defensive front quite like Michigan's, I don't think, which is good for them. I think
the offensive line, good run blocking, just terrible pass blocking.
Well, they're behind on pass blocking. Yeah,
right, but better at run blocking, I guess.
Right now. Correct. Yeah.
MZA, the only reason MSU didn't win the game is because they didn't put enough faith in Aiden Childs.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, at the end of the half, you see what happens sometimes still. Again, I agree with you. I don't know if it's a faith thing, but it was weird that they put the ball in his hands so much this year, and then in this game, it seemed to be less. And the running game was working to levels they haven't had before. But, yeah.
Why would that be? Worried about turnovers? But in this game, you can't sit there and worry about it.
I think
with Aiden Childs. You just got to let him be himself, and hopefully he learns from his mistakes.
There was not a lot of time, and I think they were worried about protecting him. I do.
Dan Grafe, number one, 3 times in the last 20 years, it felt like MSU got lucky and won this game. Saturday was the first time in 20 years I felt that way about Michigan. 2, if MSU would have called that offense to start the season, Childs would have improved more, and they could have trusted him to throw downfield against Michigan. 3, both fan bases are full of self-righteous crybaby bitches. Neither team has ever made a mistake, according to their fans. This rivalry really is the Spider-Man pointing at each other meme.
I do wonder if you're a fan of either team, if you could put yourself in the other team's and other fan base's shoes what you would think about yourself. Like people struggle to look at their own flaws, their own, you know what I mean? It is not a strength of ours. In this rivalry, as much as anything, I think the other thing is this hit right before an election that's been equally exhausting. Like I feel a lot of the same vibes.
I don't.
People. You don't?
No.
Well, you're just.
I don't. I'm sick of the text messages I get.
This is a Pure Options commercial right here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if you want to feel like Jason, if this rivalry has exhausted you, Pure Options is here for you. Make sure you got several MGs in you. You can go blissfully through life, through this rivalry, focus on the Lions, deal with the good, forget about the bad. That is what Pure Options is here for. Yeah, pureoptions.com. Your election night, Pure Options, Pure Options, Pure Options. Get yourself a muskox flannel, wrap yourself in warmth and comfort, and whatever the results of anything.
By the way, I finally decided who I'm going to vote for. I finally got that text I've been waiting on.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't understand when I text them back.
The 11th hour, you know.
They never get back to me. Like, I got a text from Liz Cheney the other day, and I was like, Liz, darts at Moriarty's? No?
Wait, hold on.
She never got back.
I didn't know Liz Cheney was still alive. Congrats.
You really do not pay attention to everything, do you?
No.
I love it.
It's fantastic. It'd be dumb.
Good for
love
you. It's interesting that he felt that Michigan got lucky. I don't know. I didn't leave the game feeling that way. I felt like
Michigan State
had
should have won that game.
Yeah, but it didn't feel like they stole one. You know what I mean? It didn't feel that way. It felt like they were in control in the second half. It felt like they were the better team in the second half. I don't know.
Gorham softball or volleyball dad. My thoughtful, nuanced take is that it's exhausting being a Michigan State football fan. It's nice to show promise, but it's frustrating knowing we could and should be 6-2. And to not have a plan for Loveland and Orgy is fucking maddening.
Yeah, Loveland's tough. He's a good player. And Michigan State's linebackers aren't always great.
You're
in
a Giant fan, so you got to take yourself out of this one.
Gorham.
Love Loveland.
Yeah.
You're a big Loveland guy, apparently. He's earned the
right.
right
Me,
to do this.
He has earned the right to do this. Gorham volleyball dad might be the biggest MSU football fan in Maine, though. Yeah, so
great snacks from Maine, by the way. Professor, I know it's early, but yet another issue with a fight / stomping at Michigan Stadium. When is it time to call a spade a spade?
You know, and we don't know exactly what was said and why Mullings did that, and
So do we expect these two teams to sit there and shake hands and walk off the field, right? Is that what we want? What would we want? What would be the ideal setting post-game?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, man, great game, guys. Great game.
I think you let one go up the tunnel ahead of the other, and then you come up the tunnel later. Look, the last time this was on Michigan State. Like, I get that the Michigan guys were annoying in the tunnel fights, but those guys got jumped. You know what I mean? Like, that was on Michigan State.
And Michigan State got fined $100,000.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. Right. No, the Big Ten needs to.
Well, how about a fine for Michigan then?
That would work. Work. Fine and suspend the guy. It's pretty easy.
DeUper, a lot of takes about the post-game scuffle and not about the Jordan Turner targeting call. That was absolute horseshit. We lose him for the first half of next week, all because it's not possible to legally tackle a running quarterback. Plus, the review came during because of a media timeout.
That's what was bad, is that I don't know that happens if there wasn't. It was a quarter break or media timeout? I think it was a quarter break. Right?
It was a quarter break, yeah.
Yeah, so like they had extra time. I don't know that it happens otherwise, and that's kind of BS. Look, the targeting stuff, I disagree with vehemently. Like, it just, we all know what targeting should be. Spirit of the rule. Guy launches at somebody with helmet to helmet. Nobody wants that, right? It's supposed to be out of the sport. That wasn't this, and too often what targeting is now is just not what we wanted, and I don't know how we get rid of it.
So we can't really blame the referees because it's the letter of the law. You got to toss those guys, but come on,
fix the rule.
Yeah.
Yep.
Matt Boone, number 1, MSU was the better team, but they make mistakes, and Michigan didn't. 2, the brawl at the end is 2 players' fault, but Michigan did more after those 2 players than MSU. If you looked for more players from Michigan ran on the field than Michigan State, and more violence was done by them.
It was near their sideline, too. So, yeah, it happened sort of spilling out into their sideline, so they rushed out, and technically the clock was still going and all that. Yeah, it was. More, but, again, that's why especially Mullings has to be suspended.
Matt C., number 1, elite MSU quarterbacks don't lose to Michigan. Childs has a great arm, but is a mid quarterback, and Iowa was fool's gold. He's literally making $100,000 per touchdown this year. What a joke NIL is. 2, Jonathan Smith is now 2-5 in rivalry games as a coach, and MSU coaches named Smith are now 0-5 versus Michigan. It's an issue. I'll give Smith one mulligan, but if they lose next year at home, ship him back to the West Coast.
Good news for Jonathan Smith is you are not the athletic director, Matt.
Fuck yeah, Matt C. He's right, though. All right, here's your mulligan, but let's get pissed. And what are you going to do about it?
You're not going to win every year.
Bullshit. Why not?
Well, if you expect
after this year, this should chap your ass, Jonathan Smith.
I'm not saying you shouldn't. You got to win your share of these. But if you go
starts next year, though,
you go
Matt C's right.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, one mulligan. You know what? I'm not saying ship his ass, but
how are they going to do that? Matt Shee's already sending. Matt C.
Disrespect.
Matt C is already sending Childs to Ireland or someplace for next season. He can't even be on the team. So.
Hey, man, you get your one mulligan from Matt C. That's it.
Okay.
How many do you want?
All right.
Alan Pearlstein. MSU is still on schedule in year 1 of a rebuild with a bowl game this year. Still a very real possibility. Michigan, on the hand, has had a significant drop-off in performance from their natty year. A quarterback fiasco. Looking forward to the Ohio State-Michigan game in November.
That will be an interesting game. Do you think about pressure? You think about, we just talked about Ohio State. What's the point? The pressure on Ohio State like that. Unless that game goes really well, there will be zero fun for Ohio
Ryan
State.
Day hot seat.
If Michigan is at all close in the fourth quarter, the sphincters will be tight, man. That is, oh my gosh. I felt all of Fred Human.
Jebediah, it's okay to both praise MSU staff for the clear strides this team has made and caw them for seemingly treating this game like every other. I have full confidence next year this team will be massively up on both facets.
I think that's totally true. You can have it. You can be frustrated, and I think that's a really healthy place actually to be. Is you can be frustrated with the staff for a particular performance and still believe that they have a chance to be the right staff.
I will think that on Thursday.
Yeah,
I think the staff absolutely screwed those kids right now. Thursday, I'll be like, you know what? This team's made strides.
They should not listen to the Monday Hot Take Show.
Parker Weiss. Number 1, Michigan Stadium is far more overrated than how much it is already considered overrated. 2, Michigan has a knockoff Zeke. I'm dubbing this imposter Deke, even if they claim it has a different name. Why aren't more people talking about this? 3, being stuck in a tailgate lot and area for over an hour, not moving an inch is ass. Even worse, if it's located in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
The knockoff Zeke is not impressive. I don't like to I like all dogs. I'm not a problem with the dog itself, but it didn't get very high either. It wasn't.
But it's a dog with a frisbee, though, right?
Right, right. It's
how are you going to take that? You're going to steal that bit? I mean, do people do steal the red panda bit where they just flip
Michigan
already
already took Mr. Brightside from Boston College. They've already stolen all that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just being an ass. Michigan Stadium more overrated. I don't know. It's not my favorite place to cover a game, mostly because the setup's so bad. Like the press box is on the other side from interviews, and so you're racing through like people.
So it's ass.
It's ass.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's an ass place to watch a game. As a fan,
with someone in your lap in front of you. I mean, it's pretty tight in there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Michigan aside, neurotic pants. Number 1, the coaches still don't trust Aiden Childs completely. Thus, the lack of passing and running on his part. And 2, if this rivalry cooled off, Michigan's unjustifiable arrogance reignited it. I support demolishing the bitch house.
Well, they're not going to do that.
He supports it, though.
Yeah. No, the rivalry is not cooled off. It is.
Good. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
Why? Why do we want it to cool off? Right? Don't you love football? That's the whole part of football. Rivalries. I mean, I get there's shenanigans that we can stop those things and swinging helmets and shit. But I don't get what we're mad at. Ben Chulik, number 1, MSU's coaching staff took 2 steps forward with the Iowa game and 2 steps back with the Michigan game. Fans like trying to score before the end of the half, but coaching staff should know better not to put a young quarterback who has a big problem with turnovers in that situation. 2, coaching staff can restore faith with an excellent game plan and result with the Indiana game. And bonus, Michigan averages 6 penalties per game in their last 4 games. And then in an in-state rivalry game, one known for chippiness, they have 0. Come on.
Yeah, the odds aren't great. It would be interesting to go back through, and this would be, I mean, officials like to stick up for each other, and I couldn't do this because I never officiated football. But if you went through like a retired ref and watched a game again, and you obviously can't do the TV view. You'd have to get the all 22 and the TV, so they could see everything that was happening. But like to see what they would have called and wouldn't have called, like redo it. That would be a great column actually. If somebody wanted to make money, I would read that every week. If somebody picked like 5 football games that were of importance and went through them and like recalled them and said this was bullshit, this was missed, this was whatever, I would read that. I would watch that analysis. However it was given to us, for sure.
All right. Aledo, first strike against Joe Rossi. I get that a lot of the effective plays that Michigan ran trick plays, but you have to know it's coming, and that was going to happen. Boy, this is great, Couch. Plus, not being able to stop Orgy is inexcusable.
First strike against Joe Rossi. I think he's had a really good year. And how many strikes do you get is the question. Like, what does it mean?
It depends. If you're Matt C., you get 1.
Yeah, that's true.
Next year, you're fucking out of here.
Yeah.
So, Nate Hamilton, number 1, I am more confident in Brian Lindgren following Saturday. Good game plan for the O-line. Is this right? Wait a minute. I am more confident in Brian Lindgren. Did you get this wrong?
No.
Oh, okay, he really means this?
Yep.
Okay, I am more confident in Brian Lindgren following Saturday. Good game plan for the O-line and D-line mismatch. All right. 2, I lost a ton of confidence in Joe Rossi. Wasn't prepared for the Alex Orgy runs. No sacks in 4 games, and communication errors are concerning as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had a plan for the Orgy runs. They knew they were coming. They just didn't do them well.
No sacks in 4 games, though.
I think
Jesus.
The offensive line development the last 2 weeks, whatever else has happened, I think is one of the more promising things. Let's see it again against Indiana. Can they finish this year being an offensive line that can suddenly run the football? If that's what remember what we talked about going into the season, what matters for Michigan State football going into next year, right? And you obviously wanted some moments where you caught people's attention, where this week would be a great week from that. Indiana's 8-0, the darlings of college football. If you beat Indiana, you will catch people's attention, right? You had some moments that are promising that people are excited about. And then if you leave the year like as a team that can run the football, I think that would be something to go into next year going, well, that was a development that hadn't happened in a long, long time.
Bill Corden next, a longtime listener, first-time hot taker. Number 1, are we really sure that Jonathan Smith's middle name is not L? 2, lack of emotion showed by our coach, to me, shows lack of energy and discipline. He gets fired up, players get fired up, we win that game. And 3, Michigan fans are ass clowns.
An oldie bit of goodie there,
Hey, it's his first time.
Absolutely, got to get that in there.
Pop the cherry.
Appreciate you, Bill. Look, I don't think the lack of I think it's who Jonathan Smith is, and I think a lot of times it probably helps Michigan State. That even
if you win, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
You can lack all the emotion you want.
I do think it was jarring to see him. First of all, after the game, it was as irritated as I've seen, and it was today to see him talk in those terms about the rivalry. He sounded like somebody who'd realized, not even just that day, but he'd realized like, holy shit, this means a lot to the people around me. A lot to the people around me.
Is that worrisome though?
No, I just think it's one of those things you have to experience. People at Michigan State, people care about this more.
But to be that surprised by it? I mean, come on, the guy's been a football coach for a long time.
I think it was. I'm not saying it was.
That's why we brought you in here, man.
But I also think he knew he had to say it, too. That's the other.
Well, and you don't want to sound like a guy that's saying things just like you're trying to sound like someone that you're not, I guess.
Correct. And one of the things I've liked about him so far is that he, to me, has come across as genuine in what he's said and not said or whatever. He comes across as himself, right? And that's really all you can ask in people.
David Jackson, number 1, assuming we would have made that 4th and 1 in the first quarter. The false start was the play that ultimately lost the game. How many were there during the game? Is it that hard to remember the damn snap count? And 2, kudos to the run defense, but 0 ability to pressure a quarterback means something has to change. And being twice fooled by a 9th grade level trick plays is nauseating. We were fucking outcoached by a MAC level staff. And 3, MSU threw approximately 1 and only 1 ball all game long down the field, despite having the only future pro wideout on either roster.
And it wasn't really to him. Yeah.
That is insanity.
Yeah, it was. That was.
I'm
not
sorry.
That was not great.
Chuck the ball up to Marsh. I don't care. Get Couch out there. Throw the ball. That would be like throw the ball to Marsh, Couch. Right? I mean, come on.
You guys would be embarrassed by how bad my arm is with
Absolutely, but at least we would go. It was try. You'd probably get a late hit or something.
It'd
be worth it.
I was thinking about that when I watched Jaden Daniels throw that Hail Mary with bad ribs. And
fucking Eberflus.
Still went 65 yards.
Oh, my God. I forgot about Eberflus in the hot takes. That was fantastic to watch the Bears lose in that fashion. Eberflus, why is Eberflus the head coach there?
How far can you throw a football?
40 yards? I don't know.
Can you really? Holy crap.
No,
really?
Is that long?
That's long. I cannot throw a football 40 yards. I can throw maybe 30.
Oh, all
35,
right.
maybe if 30.
Dude, I might be 30 then. I don't know. I have not thrown a football in a long time. I feel like I have a decent arm.
I bet you I could throw 135 yards and my arm would fall off. Like that would be my nightmare, to like be in some sort of game, even like a recreational game where they're like, we need you to throw Hail Mary. I'm like, it would drop at the 25 yard line.
50 yard bomb.
It would go it would just drop at the 25 yard line. People are like, what was that? And
how small of a ball is it though? Drain around it. David Jackson, number one, assuming we would have made that for. Did I read this? His already?
Yes,
Shit, I'm sorry. Suburban Spartan Dad. The coaching was fine on Saturday, not elite, but good enough to win. A missed short field goal and the bad fumble before half cost MSU 6 points. If those super avoidable errors go the Spartans' way, they are down 1 point the final drive and have a 40-yard field goal to win. Smith will be fine. I think it's against Ohio State that happened too, where the turnovers and they were actually moving the ball against Ohio State. It's just frustrating.
The end of the first half was interesting because I am always the guy who wants people to maximize what they do at the end of the first half and take a shot. Mm-hmm. And I thought they did the right thing. They get the long run, right? You see if you get it's the pretty typical standard thing. You run the ball, and if you break one off, you're like, okay, now we'll throw it. And so you get in a decent field position. And I thought the mistake there was just that Childs hung on to it and then ran. I mean, the idea of throwing it there made all the sense in the world to me. Because even if you get picked off with that amount of time left, if you throw 15, 20 yards downfield and you're at the other team's 40-yard line, that's probably not going to result in a field goal the way Michigan was moving the ball. It was just, I didn't hate the approach. The play itself didn't work, and then Childs not feeling that pressure. That's just, it's kind of that one play a game. And last against Iowa, it didn't hurt them, right? Because Iowa missed a long field goal. But there's kind of this one play a game still with him where he's got to try and get that out of his system, and it's not easy.
Alex Mayer next. Number one, Halloween is an underrated holiday. 2, there is no good timing to carve your pumpkin. It's either early and it looks bad by the holiday, or you do it last minute and there's too much pressure to get it done. And 3, 0 penalties for Michigan is bullshit.
Halloween, where does it fall on the holiday scale for you?
You know what? I try to get into it every year. We don't have trick-or-treaters. My nephew, he's like 5, so it's fun to watch him. He's not really into like dressing up.
Do you take him trick-or-treating?
No. Because he goes, I forget what neighborhood he goes to. But anyway, no. I don't get into it as much. I love Christmas way more.
Oh, I do too. Oh, Christmas Rube, of course, but Santa Rube. But
oh my God! I thought someone got you a new charger.
They say it's at the. I'm gonna have to go look. I'm gonna go look.
You're not going to the office anymore.
Once in a while I'm going tomorrow. I'm gonna look for the charger. If not, I gotta go
5
buy
minutes
one.
away.
It's a block from here. The office is a block from the studio. It's like I'm right down the street. I come here all the time. The thing with Halloween that I'm Christmas first too and all that stuff. But Halloween to me is one of those holidays that you can get as into it as you want, and there's zero pressure. And that's what I love about it as an adult. Like Halloween is something we just passed out candy for a few years. Now our neighbors are really into it, and they dress up and do all these lights in their front lawn. So we come out, and now we pass out candy in the front lawn, and we drink wine, and we hang out. Right? It's fun. And we pass out. I mean, like I think it's a great
drop an edible.
It's It's a great Pure Options, and it's a great Pure Options Muskox Day. I'll be in a Muskox flannel. I'm not going to be dressed up, but I'll be in a Muskox flannel with several MGs. And that is, by the way, the Muskox hot take of the day. Nothing better than a good Halloween take. One of those is strong on its own, but better as part of a herd. Love holiday takes, and an extra $5 donation to the Alaska Wildlife Conservancy from Muskox.
Wait, was that the winner?
Yeah. What did I?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, extra $5 to Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. And with every flannel purchased, Muskox donates $5 as is to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. So, this is a company you can be proud of. They utilize ethical, sustainable manufacturing materials. All flannels are hand-cut and sewn in Portugal. Look, I'm telling you, you're going to love the quality. You're going to love the feel. double brush for softness. That just you don't get too hot indoors. And like I said, 37-degree night, mile walk from Michigan Stadium in my parking spot. Felt fantastic. Was comfortable. Hands were a little cold. Maybe I'll have to get some muskox mittens. But that's something. That's my own issue. That's my own fault.
I think Brad needs to put you on a cover of one of the magazines if he puts those out, though, because it does make you look like watching you and Solari in your video there. Right? Like I see you and I go, you know what? That flannel actually looks good on him. So I'm saying, like, Brad Hoos, put the man on the cover of the magazine.
You know those old makeover shows they used to do in the afternoons with like Sally, Jesse Raphael or whatever in the day.
Yeah,
it would be, you could do that with me. Like you do nothing except add the muskox. You go from looking at a guy like woof, and then you put it on. You're like, that guy looks all right.
My favorite part was the significant other that would be sitting there, and all of a sudden they come out and they would have like this bowl cut or something. Like, oh my god,
they'd have to act like they like
the grizzly beard guy that gets shaven down and everything.
Again, go muskox.com to get your flannel today. $15 off with the promo code FIXIT for Couch in the Rube listeners.
Chris Easlick, number 1. Graham, in exchange for your weather reports for softball next year, I need you to ask the question. I need Lindgren or Smith to answer the 47 yards deep in the backfield handoff to gain 1 yard. The clock is ticking, Graham. Hell, I'll settle for the answer from Jay Johnson via Cody Tucker. And 2, the onside kick was maddening. They struggled to score, and you gifted them a short field. And bonus, I didn't like the game plan, but I don't understand where the Smith doesn't get the rivalry takes are coming from. They punched Michigan in the mouth from the jump. They didn't finish. Don't get the correlation to not understanding the rivalry.
Yeah, I don't think what happened was not understanding the rivalry in the game. I think he does understand it better today, but I don't think that.
But I don't think it's what he expected, though. I think he understands that they're a rival, and it's always going to be heated. But it looks like even he admitted, like, wow, I was surprised by how intense people were about this.
Well, and think about it. Even if you're in the Oregon State-Oregon rivalry, like he was for a long time on the Oregon State side, he had been in other rivalries and coached other places. But he came up as a player in the Oregon State rivalry. So when he goes back to Oregon State, you fully understand it. So there's no jarringness to it. There's no, wow, this is new. There's nothing new about it. You know what I mean? You're just, you understand it. And you take somebody who understands the Michigan State dynamic, it may be something that's intense, but you understand it entirely. So there's there is something new to it. And Chris, I will if we get one of those guys this week. Obviously, we had Smith. I did not ask that. He was asked about. I will have to go back and listen to the whole press conference. I will later.
Crush some tape.
But Lindgren, if we get him this week, I will. We'll do that for you.
Coach Z, relax and forget everything else and enjoy knowing this. The Lions heal all wounds. That's true.
I would say
Go Lions, restore the roar.
One of the best things that's happened to this state in a long time, and I think it's just consistently good Lions football on Sundays.
And the Tigers. The Tigers.
What a run.
I mean, the fucking playoffs.
The beginning of the fall. Like, think about it. For so long, Michigan and Michigan State, when they were it just carried the state. The Lions were horrible. The Tigers were like to have the Lions is a bookend to your weekend every week. Be competitive, real. And right now, what your faith that they'll be the number 1 seed if they stay healthy is what?
Like percentage-wise?
Yeah. Pretty high, right?
Absolutely. As long as we keep Goff upright, I think that this offense. But I'm watching these other superior teams like the Chiefs. They're picking up players here. What are we doing? I want to know. I mean, in Brad Holmes we trust, but I'm saying we need a linebacker and a defensive end. We have to add a piece, right?
Yeah,
we're not going to stand firm.
The defense is vulnerable, no question.
I know, but they gave up 14 points, right? Yesterday. But I mean, I felt with the way Mason Rudolph was playing, I thought we were going to give up like 40. It was crazy, but. Our offense can't be stopped. Nate Rhodes, the Lions are the best team in the NFC.
The 49ers still, it's weird. They're the team that maybe would concern me the most just because if they get McCaffrey back. Like if they withstand this and get into the playoffs, then I think they're going to make the playoffs, and they get McCaffrey back and they get healthy. Like they've had a shitload of injuries. The 49ers are the one team that's why you want to be home. And I think obviously they're going to have a better record than the 49ers, so if they play them, that'll be home. That's the team.
But they have had injuries, but they've had still a core group of guys. Like Warner's been playing, Purdy's been playing. Jordan Mason
McCaffrey changes them.
Yeah, but Jordan Mason went in there. You didn't even listen. I know McCaffrey's better, but I don't know. 49ers don't scare me. Kurt Wisniewski, Kevin from Rochester Hills. The Lions lack speed. Definitely on defense.
Well, they're missing J-Mo, too, so he's fast.
Are we ever going to find out why? Like he take
What it
Adderall or
was.
something?
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's what it was. He took one of his boys' Adderalls.
Yeah, for 2 games, it can't have been much.
Why do we keep saying that though? 2 games is a lot.
I'm just saying.
There's one more game. Like, what do you mean?
But if it was like a real horse tranquilizer, they would have been like, "You're out for the season."
Can you just tell us? Yeah. Can we be transparent at all? And what's going on? Kurt Wisniewski, Brad Holmes, start cooking. The Lions need a pass rusher now. And bonus. So disappointed in the Spartans. They little brothered the shit out of the final 3 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what bothers people right now. It's not, it's like it's how it looked, how it felt. It's familiar. Yep.
3rd and 1. Slow developing bullshit. Nestle's Quick Hotel. This team has brought back the trend of same old Spartans. They tease and give you hope and then just collapse. Feels like the MSU teams of 2002 through 06. It's frustrating because that first quarter happened. MSU could have blown them out. They are capable, but not sustainable.
I have an idea for Pure Options. They have a pack of edibles called the Same Old Spartans. And everybody buys them because you've just got this. It's like a pack to reserve. When you see it start to happen, you've got it right there. You know the concoction you need. You know the exact MGs. It's like, this is what I take when the Same Old Spartans emerge. They don't have that, but they have lots of other great options. Go to pureoptions.com to find out the location. 3 in the greater Lansing area, by the way. 1 at Frandor, which is very close to Front 43, which is very close. Well, not to Midtown, but in the same vicinity. And then, of course, 1 in Mount Pleasant and Muskegon and Detroit. Again, pureoptions.com to find out the closest one to you.
Ken, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I had nothing else.
Okay, Ken Chu, catching big bass on topwater lures all day Sunday makes everything better. I saw those pics, Kenny.
It looked like fun.
Well, I mean, do you have a TV on the boat?
You're worried about the Lions.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm worried about football Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, does he have an ability? I mean, do you have the game on? Anything?
That would be amazing. A little TV on the boat while fishing. That does sound amazing.
Just have Graham set up on your boat. Like, Graham setup it would be official for your boat.
Yes.
But at a house, no.
No.
For a boat, yes.
Yes.
Mike Scott, the Lions should be in the market for 1 superstar defensive end or 2 good to really good defensive ends. They are so stacked everywhere else. F them picks. The time is now. And bonus, Jets and Bears. Ha 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 ha. By the way, we need a linebacker though. We really do. With some speed.
Yeah, I do.
Awesome.
I do agree. I mean, like the picks are nice because Brad Holmes is great with them, but I do agree. This is the moment. And what you don't do as much in the NFL that they do in the NBA is they trade like picks way down the road. Like I wish if you
2029.
Yeah, I wish you were the Lions. Like let's pick something out of the window and just all admit 1 year might suck somewhere. Down the road. We'll all sign up for 2030 not being great, whatever it is. But it's on those picks.
It's like LeBron and his trades. 30, 34, like 3rd round picks or whatever. Richard Kane, number 1, regarding extending the Lions playoff window for years. I'd trade every draft pick for the next 20 years for just 1 Super Bowl win, even if that meant 40 years of losing. Let's not be greedy. 1 Lombardi is enough, and as a Lions fan for 4+ decades, I'd be grateful for it. 2, last Monday's show, about 45 minutes in, there was some joking about Rube being off-putting. I found him very much so when I first started listening. But I now understand he is as essential as any component of the show, and I very much value his perspective. Oh, thank you, Richard.
That should be a must-got.
Oh, God, $5 for Richard.
Yeah.
Bonus, the delay of game penalty on MSU's first drive was an inexcusable coaching error and shocking mistake by Smith.
I love that. At one point you were off-putting, and now he sees the value. What a turn.
I understand that.
What a turn. I appreciate you sticking with us long enough. Like, very rarely do I listen to a show where somebody's off-putting and stay with the show.
It could be someone that you don't really like, and then they can grow on you, sure.
I've
had podcasts like that. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. By the way, I understand. What? Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go first.
1 Super Bowl. I mean, I want to be good for an extended period of time. I'm not talking like 15 years or anything like the Patriots 20 years, but come on, like a good 8-year run. Let's do this.
It would be amazing to get win 3 Super Bowls over 8 years.
No,
or something
listen,
like that.
I'm with him. I'm good with 1.
Okay.
If we get 1 out of this little run here for 8 years, I mean, I don't know. I just want to be a good football fucking franchise.
You really are beaten down by life.
I really do. I'm soft. I'm 45 years old and just getting softer by the days. Clint, 1 Ball Bainey. Number 1, MSU won every stat line but the scoreboard. That's a shame. 2, no suspensions will be handed out to Michigan. They truly were the instigators. And 3, the Lions should stick with who they have. No trades. This is a team. Don't break it up.
You don't have to trade dudes on the team. It's picks, right? I mean, that's the thing.
Well, it depends on the
Or maybe
guys. I
a
mean, who do
guy.
they want? You want Malcolm Rodriguez? The
Well,
team want him?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are guys.
I mean, he's a tough, gritty kid. I mean, he can tackle as long as someone's slow.
What's amazing is the slogan for the Lions is grit, right? That's what we all respect. But if somebody says you're gritty, you're not very good.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
Yeah, but they should stand firm, though. Clint, really? I mean, you gotta add a piece. I'm sorry. Alex Peter Baker. The Lions need to replace Ben Johnson with someone in-house when he inevitably becomes a head coach. Passing game coordinator Tanner Engstrand, what the fuck? Engstrand, rightly seems to be their heir apparent.
Yeah, the real key is
You offer Ben Johnson $10 million a year.
when
It doesn't go against your cap.
The real key is whoever you hire, but in-house or not, you got to know. Like, it can't just be they're on the staff and they have the title that's right.
I
under
want
them.
a $10 million a year offer, though.
For him. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
For
no
Ben Johnson to say, okay, I want to be a head coach.
right.
But maybe he would want to be an offensive coordinator if he was making the salary. Like he and Dan Campbell make the same amount a year.
Well, and
who says no?
He is young enough, and they're in their window to the point that I heard another podcast about this recently. And one of the things they were talking about was just coordinators like him, like just how much leverage he has and how patient he can be.
Do you want to go to the Jets?
That's what I mean. Like,
You mean, like,
wait for a decent spot. And the biggest thing to wait for, if you're a guy like him, is either a quarterback or a spot where you're going to be able to draft a young quarterback. Like, you don't want to be.
Do you want to go to Dallas?
These guys get
McCarthy's going to be fired.
Yeah, but these guys. Yeah.
I can understand if Ben Johnson's like, you know what? But why would you want to go? I would still rather call plays for the Lions, but
That's you though.
Well, yeah. W struck next. Number 1, Jonathan Smith doesn't get this rivalry. Soft as Charmin. 2, the Lions have finally convinced me to trust after 40 years. This team is winning it all. And 3, fuck Wisconsin for blowing a throwaway $2.50 25-leg parlay that paid $6,500.
Oh.
Is there a picture of this ticket?
Oh my goodness.
W struck? Bone a 25-leg. Jake Hawkins, do not do 25-leg parlays. Bonus take. I live in a small town called Kawakawalan.
Where is that? Hold on.
Cawcalan. Cawcalan?
Hold on. Let me. Cawcalan. I see. I see what he did there. Caw is what he's doing.
Oh, sorry, my mind was somewhere else.
No, there is. It's in Bay.
Cawcalan.
Bay City State Park, Cawcalan Township. So it's Cawcalan. He's not kidding. Oh, this is our town. It's in Fayette County, Michigan. It's Cawcalan Township. Oh my God, this is the best. W struck, my man.
Where are we at? Some dude?
Yeah.
All right. Some dude. Number 1, there is no such thing as earning the right to be insufferable. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. Having success at something doesn't make it okay to be an asshole. And I guess 3, the Detroit Lions can win games in their sleep.
Yeah, when I go 1 to 3, that means I cut your number 2.
I see
It must
that.
have been similar to somebody else. Sorry, Travis. Or that's some dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's insufferable in moment. You're in the right, not to be an insufferable person, but to have an insufferable act in the moment. To be, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm
But I
trying to
really
say.
can't blame, like I said, I can't blame these younger guys, though, that you get into the mix of some of this stuff. And like I said, you're punching each other in the face for like 3 hours. And you're supposed to just walk off the field, I guess.
And I get why somebody puts a mic in you just been all riled up.
Right.
You've been in a brawl. Somebody puts a mic in your face, and you're like, little brother.
Right.
I would do the same
You have
thing at
alumni
23,
there,
21
former
years old.
players that are probably doing that shit too. I mean, I don't know.
I get it.
Right. Travis Maynard, the G League is beta testing a single foul shot on shooting fouls worth 2 or 3 points for one made free throw. If that's the case, then players should have to take the foul shot from the spot of the foul. Speaking of fouls, Edey fouled out in 15 minutes in his first NBA game. Weird.
They call him a little different there, Zach. Not in West Lafayette anymore. I didn't know that about the G League. I have to check this rule out. I don't really understand what's happening there, but I'm curious.
Sounds awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peasy, I'm going to need more from Tobias Harris. Well, I was not ready for that. We're talking about Tobias Harris?
Tobias Harris takes.
You know what? I saw him the other day getting interviewed. I'm like, oh, shit, he's on the Pistons again? Peasy, I'm going to need more from Tobias Harris. For a guy that was supposed to be a dependable vet, he's been worse than some of the clowns Weaver brought in so far. And bonus, MSU beats Indiana after the most locked-in week of coaching possible by this staff. They're going to lock in for this week.
By the way, first of all, I know the Pistons have a brutal schedule out of the gate. I still like their over 25.5 wins. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to win 30 games. I do. I think they're going to be pushing the 10 spot.
Hot take there.
Hot take. There you go.
30 games? Wow. Sign me up.
The MSU beats Indiana after the most locked-in week for this coaching staff possible. I am curious about this game because I think if you're a coaching staff and you're facing Kurt Cignetti, who's the darling of all coaches, he is viewed as the greatest coaching hire known to man right now, right? I think it is a challenge to look good and be the one that can take him down. If I was a coach, I would be supremely motivated this week. Now, can you get your players supremely motivated coming out of the Michigan game? That's the key. But if I were a coach, it would be very easy.
But when you crush tape on that offense for Indiana, you're just like, oh, boy, it's going to be tough. BPA, the only correct number of targets Mars should have had is 17. We've been dropping bombs with success all season, and Saturday we had one attempt longer than 15 yards. Not even a back shoulder fade to Marsh even once. Coaching malpractice.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Wasn't great. I think we've established that, but it was not. You're 100% right.
But let me just hear what's the from Lindgren though. I would just like to ask him, like, what was the thought process there? Why would you only throw the ball once down the field like that?
I'll request him tomorrow because I do think
why, you know what I mean? Like, why can't we just talk about it?
They tend to rotate through the assistants, and
forget it.
He was out. No, but they had him last week, and so
I know, but it already sounds like an excuse, and he's not going to give a right answer.
No, but I think he would. I think that's part of the. I think one of the keys to good availability is recognizing when people want to hear from that particular coach, and I think this week people want to hear from the offensive coordinator. In part, I mean, they'll probably give him Hulchek because the offensive line's been great, but people want to hear about, both why things are working and why they aren't, and why you chose to do certain things.
Yep. Jay Riemann-Schneider, the way the game was looking after both teams had 2 drives, I would have swore MSU would be up 17-3 by half. An extra take, every place I've looked, bagels have less calories and fat than donuts. Not by much, but still less. I know you love your business partners and are promoting them, but you talk as if bagels are 10 times worse. Stop the misinformation.
Appreciate you, Jay.
Yeah, but I heard people choke on bagels more than donuts, though.
A lot more bagels deaths.
Yeah.
I mean, this is.
And then Graham, you'll eat a bagel, and Graham will push you down the stairs.
Look, if somebody who's eaten, what did I have, 10 donuts in 9 minutes or whatever we did that challenge years ago?
That was
donuts?
yesterday.
Yeah, it was. I could not do that with bagels. I would feel gross and fat, and as opposed to how I feel now.
Chris, hot. Michigan may have multiple first-round picks, but MSU is the more talented team. Measured. Coach decisions like not kneeling to end the half, not calling a timeout before the delay of game, and refusing to throw the ball down the field is the reason for the loss. MSU beat themselves.
I do think if there were 2 long passes to Marsh, they get at least 3 points, or say they punch it in and call the timeout, and don't turn it over at the end of the half. So it's 14-7, let's say, at halftime, and they throw the ball down the field twice, I think they win the game. So I think you might be right, Chris.
John.
This should be Naughty. It's something
Naughty.
Correct. Yep,
Joe
sorry.
Naughty. MSU volleyball down 2-0 on the road at USC, facing match point around midnight East Lansing time. Comes back to beat number 16 USC. Graham, if you come out for Sparty basketball in February, dinner is on me.
Awesome. Look forward to that. John, I very much appreciate that. Yeah, no, that was a big. All of a sudden, I saw the score and started paying attention. That was a big for a program that's had a rough year for MSU volleyball. Big win, and I'm not. They seem to have some decent talent. I'm not quite sure why it's been a rough year for them. It just hasn't quite come together.
Spartan 18770. For anyone expecting Mullings to be suspended by that bitch-ass school, here's a reminder. Mozzie Smith, Brendan Gibbons, Juwan Howard, Bo Schembeckler. They don't do the right thing over there. They deflect.
We'll see what happens here. I did think Sharon Moore's the way he sounded, the contrition. Now, obviously, there is a situation with one particular player. How that is handled, we'll see. But Moore has not turned me off with his. Like, as somebody who listened to Jim Harbaugh for a long time, people always say, oh, you hate Harbaugh because of Michigan. I didn't like Harbaugh because I don't like Harbaugh. I don't like the way he looks through people. I don't like his personality. I just think he would drive me fucking nuts. Like, hanging out with Harbaugh and maybe he's great if he's your coach.
Oh, God, yeah.
And maybe he's great
football coach.
Hanging out and have a beer. I don't know. I never sense that. I don't enjoy him at all. And Sharon Moore, I don't have any of those same feelings towards. Like, I don't.
But if Moore says it and nothing happens, and there has to be some sort of discipline.
True.
Right?
I'm just saying he's not somebody who irritates me the same way Harbaugh.
Because
did.
Harbaugh should have said those things and then maybe not done anything about it like he was going to do.
Harbaugh never
even just tried to even fake it. Yeah.
Zero accountability for anything ever, and he just looks at you with this catatonic face like he doesn't even know
I
you're in
would
the
rob a
fucking room.
bank with Jim Harbaugh, though. Absolutely. What are you talking about? No, he didn't rob that bank. No, I don't know. Wait, no. Andrew Gauthier, number one, MSU should have had that game wrapped up by the end of the first quarter. They lost because they didn't. And 2, forget the election. Vote Groovy Donuts in the Lansing City Pulse Top of the Town contest, Best Donuts category.
That should be obvious to people, but it's a nice thing to do. Groovy Donuts in the City Pulse Top of the Town contest.
Yeah, text me about that. I'd rather have a text about that vote.
That yeah. Andrew, start spamming people like everybody else about the vote for Groovy Donuts, and yeah, it's worth doing.
Original Dark Mantonio, there might be a day or two bragging rights because you won a rivalry game, but in the grand scheme, it means nothing, and no conclusions can be framed because both teams are just so-so. And yes, I'm a Michigan fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Michigan, it's more about hanging on to something in a season where you've sort of lost your footing a little bit after you had 3 unbelievable years and won a national championship, and then you're going to go 6-6, maybe get to 7-5. But at least you didn't lose in the rivalry. You didn't lose everything. And in this transition year, and I think next year is still an enormous year for them. It'll be a big year in the rivalry, but it's an enormous year for the program to sort of get itself back up, and it's going to need a quarterback to do that.
Dang it, Bobby. Next. Number 1, it's absurd that all the Michigan games are called by slappies. Fucking annoying. And 2, Nick Marsh is going to transfer if he doesn't have a more prominent role. And 3, the jalapeno poppers were terrific, but I'm blowing serious heat today.
Appreciate you, dang it, Bobby.
Courtesy Flush.
I do not think Nick Marsh is going to transfer, and what I mean by that, and obviously if he's got a prominent role, he's like their number 1, number 2 target. He's a true freshman who's 18. Comes from level-headed stock. He's a guy who chose Michigan State even after everything that like if you listen to that guy talk and the reasons what he would tell people about coming to Michigan State, and it's not just all flash and this is going to be fun. It's about the work that it takes, and it's about to be a college receiver, and his reasoning for coming to MSU, his relationship with Aiden Childs, he's a college kid, and in this era, nothing would ever completely surprise me, but I would be more surprised than most if Nick Marsh were to leave Michigan State. I think he's obviously doing well at MSU. He'll have 2 years before he's got a chance to be an NFL guy, and he's got a good quarterback who might be on the same timeline with him. I don't think he'll mess with that.
DMB, number 1, Sharon Moore acting like an adult in the post-game interview was refreshing. And 2, Couch, your profession in this state is an embarrassment. Write a fucking story about the fight. It's your job, and the precedent has been set. 3, this MSU offense has some upside with tempo and run-pass option.
I did write a story about the fight. It just took a day to do it. Sometimes things take a day.
What? No column?
That would be the lesson. Let's take one last quick break here, and we'll come back in the home stretch of your hot takes. Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Pure Options, Precision Crafted Cannabis, and our Monday night show by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. That was.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeeper's online casino and sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis, which, if you're still listening, my guess is you are well familiar with, and several MGs deep, and our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels, and apologize for the deep, sultry voice on the way out with the Muskox read. That sometimes happens to me. Back to the hot takes.
Ghost of George Perlis next. Number 1, Smith doesn't get it. Saban, D'Antonio, Tucker, they all got it. 2, calling you out, Graham. That piece you puked just justifying Loveland was crap. Instead, you should be sounding off about the MSU assistant who got stomped, demanding swift justice, like Harbaugh. Bring charges.
You don't want to bring charges. You don't need to be the ass. You know, not everything is required. I mean, that was a mistake last time, and Harbaugh got carried away and did a bad thing and his response. And then, Eli, our friend down in Washtenaw, did as well.
Savage.
What's the column? Can you think of a column that I've written that's pissed you off?
No, I don't. I mean, pissed me off.
Or just thought that's trash. That guy. Why am I doing a show with him?
No, man. I usually, because I know what you try to do in those things, and you try to get people going and get people a little heated. And well, so I don't know. We do a show, so if I have a problem with you, I'll just say it on the show or something.
That's true.
Right? Like I never read it like, oh, I can't wait to hammer Couch about this, but like, because I mean, we do 2 shows that have listener interaction, so people usually tell me, yeah, they get on you about it. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think of that.
The way it was worded, I can understand why people were kind of pissed off.
100%. I knew. Look, the idea of a headline, and clickbait is not what I ever do, because the column has to deliver on the headline. But the headline is to get you to read something. Mm-hmm. There's no question. That is part of the job. I'm a good headline writer. Some people aren't, and it hurts them. I forgot, that sounded really arrogant. Let's fix that in post.
Like when I said the summer of Jason,
that was
like,
amazing.
oof, oh, that hurt.
So when was your summer of Jason?
Before Treese.
Oh, I
meant Treese at the end, like the end of summer of Jason.
You want to take us through that summer on the show?
No, I'm married and happy now, and it was great. It was a time to be alive, and it was just a summer of. I broke up with a girlfriend and decided it was going to be a summer of fun, and then it ended with my wife. So
met your wife, and
I did.
But it's been more fun since.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was still drinking back then. It was ridiculous. It was stupid.
A story worth telling, presented, of course, by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. And if you have a date that you're just having a fun summer, or better yet, if she's your wife, she will appreciate Midtown Brewing Company. Tuesday night trivia, great spot for just a drink after work, a lunch date, brunch on the weekends. You will really appreciate this menu, I'm telling. And I love the bar. I love their drink selection, including the American
That definitely
Stout.
would have been Treese's our first date.
The Midtown Brewing Company.
Midtown, Cask & Company, all those places would have been perfect. I'm not even saying that because they're sponsors, but
no, I mean,
a good vibe for,
these are places that I not
friends
only,
on the apps.
that I go regularly, and I go with people socially.
You might see Couch.
And that I recommend to people because I know the experience and the food and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Jonathan Smith's burner next. Colston Loveland earns the right to be insufferable? What an ass take, Graham. Yes, we're rivals, but there's a difference between being insufferable and having class. And only at Michigan could you headbutt an opposing player, start a fight, and blame it on little bro, but still be the victim. Fuck you, Colston.
By the way, I did take one. I don't mind the FU, Colson. One person wished that he died in a fiery car accident, and I didn't leave that in there.
But you just said it, though.
I did say it. I didn't mean
Why
it. But
didn't you leave it in
I just
then?
want people to know there is a line where I look at something and I go, I don't know how we laugh at that. And then if it happens, well,
I'm
especially
laughing at it right now.
well, but okay, well then you want me, yeah, it's not good.
We just said it. No, I'm laughing at the fact that you were like, you left it out, but then you brought it up.
I know. I'm not.
So you might as well just left it.
Sorry, I'm not very good.
Because it's not funny. I mean, someone dying in a car crash.
No.
That. I mean, it's
No,
not funny.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and Michigan State, one of their most beloved players died in something like that. And, you don't want that. So. I'm sorry.
Good Lord, bring in the fucking house. Oh, Oasis Dog 97. Your Loveland article was fucking pathetic. You were the first one to dogpile on MSU after the tunnel, and you just excused a Michigan player for doing the same thing. Hope the cuck chair is comfortable.
Appreciate you.
The cuck chair.
It's well said.
Is that what that chair is over there? Is that the cuck chair?
Was I the first one to dogpile on MSU? I do remember that the column I wrote that night was tough, and I did write a good column going after the prosecutor and MSU
the rivalry
later. Sometimes those
cuck chair.
Sometimes those
Fivel and league now. Enjoy the ride. We will get there while others fall.
No, I mean this has to be part of the process, right? This is part of Jonathan Smith's story now of the rivalry with Michigan. And everybody has it. Like Mark D'Antonio's first year was that heartbreaking loss when Braylon Edwards beat them, right? That was 05. Oh, it was 07. Oh, whatever it was. I don't even remember the circumstances who was on the team anymore. But it was a heartbreaking loss, and it was little brother. And then that became something that became a rallying cry, and the next year they beat him. And it's the response. And as long as it's part of his story, then it will be something that's appreciated down the road. If Jonathan Smith is like in Breslin Center, center court introducing his team 5 years from now, yelling F Michigan, everybody will be thrilled that however long it took him to embrace this.
Uper Carl. Childs is clearly quarterback one, but the hype around him is ridiculous. MSU has had 5 sophomore starters the last 2 decades, and Childs is the worst performing of all of them. QBR 8 games into their sophomore years. Cook, 137. Lewerke, 133. Cousins, 130. Stanton, 115. And Childs, 107. And fumbles are not a part of QBR.
But if you had to pick one of those guys upside, who would you do? Would it be Childs?
I mean, Connor Cook was pretty good.
He did become pretty good. And Stanton was a good quarterback until his senior year. Cousins,
Childs would be up there though.
But Childs is. I still think Childs is going to be fine. I still don't see any issue with the development track he's on. Now, like I've said, a year from now, if like some of these things are still major issues, then it's a bit of a problem. But to me, there's just so much upside with him, and he's had a lot on his plate this year.
Corey Ostrom, number 1. It's fine for Colston, Loveland to talk, as Graham said. They earned it. It's also okay for him to talk because we all had a rewind button on our remotes and see he started things, which really lends itself to bad optics on Loveland. And 2, like Ohio State and Oregon, Michigan exposed weaknesses to work on going forward, such as discipline and attention to detail in big moments. Third down defense and mid-route coverage, red zone offense, and reading defenses and blitz packages. And bonus, MSU will beat Indiana Saturday.
I'm fascinated by the game. I haven't looked forward to an MSU. Like the Michigan State game, I look forward to the actual game itself because it's usually interesting. But Indiana being 8-0, and yet watching how they play, and yet not really understanding why their roster pound for pound is any better than Michigan State's. Like I am fascinated by this game. I am. They may boat race Michigan State, and it may be a dismal moment for MSU. I think it's going to be a ball game. I am fascinated by it. I love the 3:30 start time for fans that they get that sort of late afternoon game, traditional game. Hopefully decent weather.
So you take the 7 and a hook?
No, this is a game I would just. I don't think I would either way. And this is a stay away for me by far.
This game could go either way.
Go either way.
I'm not sure.
I mean, it's just hard to. It would be hard for me to tell people to bet against Indiana right now, the way they're beating people.
Yeah, but who have they beat?
Well,
that impresses you.
They beat the shit out of Nebraska that nearly just upset Ohio State. They beat Washington, who beat Michigan pretty handily. Like they're not. These last 2 wins have been pretty good. The early on, it was like, they're not playing anybody and they're annihilating bad teams.
Yeah.
They're beating okay teams now, and Michigan State's not any better than okay.
Jonah Him next. First Stallions, then Loveland, then Mullings, and then I find out they didn't have a penalty called all game. How often does that happen in the NCAA? Given this program, the death penalty. And bonus, if you wake up in the doghouse on a Sunday morning, take your girl to a farmer's market.
That is great advice. Farmers markets are great. There are not enough of them around here.
Why were you in the
good ones.
doghouse, though? That's what I want to know. Like, how bad was it to where you thought you had to go to a farmer's market?
Yeah.
Like an apology would, like a fucking pastry in the morning when she wakes up or something?
Jonah, if you can, next week or Twitter questions later, if you could include
what
that.
were you guys fighting about?
That would be a good story worth telling, presented by Midtown Brewing Company. We want to know the details of your life.
As married guys, we'll probably go, no, yeah.
So what's, like, if you ever screwed something up with Therese and thought the next day, like, I got to do something nice, and what's your go-to?
Well, you usually like those stupid little fights. My go-to is flowers from Horrocks, though.
Yeah, same.
But not as like an apology. I usually just get them like randomly. It doesn't have to be Sweetest Day or whatever bullshit holiday on the calendar. I just get her on a random Wednesday. I'll get her a thing of flowers. But we usually try not to let things linger. We try to just communicate and, I don't know, make it sound like the couple of the fucking decade. But
no.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
I just don't
way.
like those stupid fights, then I'm not going to talk to her today. Like, what?
Like, Elizabeth and I barely fight. That's why you marry her. I mean, I know some people are passionate and they fight all the time, but who would be passionate about me? I'm just glad she doesn't fight with me all the time.
But we saw your TV setup. That's why there's no fights, because you just listen to what she says.
But I like my life.
I know. It's great that you like your life. I love my life, too, and I'm not saying I want, but my God, man. You're like, oh, yeah, we don't get into fights. Like, no shit.
Hydrangeas from Horrocks, so that's my thing. I just think she likes them. I bring them home once in a while. I get, I always, but when you put them in those little tubes, you know what I'm talking about? The little water tubes that get all over you. That's the one thing I wish there was a better invention. Where you put the stems.
Yeah.
Because you water all over your.
Well, you could just take them off. Why are you pulling them off like a 15-year-old masturbating for the first time?
No, I'm
just
putting them in.
off.
It's when you put it in.
Huh? Well, yeah, but you let the cashier do it.
No, you do it yourself.
No,
you take them out. You make the cashier.
I don't make them. They ask if you want them wrapped, and if you want the water thingies in there. And I said, sure.
Huh. Okay.
I just feel like it's thing. You put the stem in the. All right. Mark Osterman, every big completion Michigan had, we saw Spencer sitting there dumbfounded. Spencer or Smith? Who are we talking
Spencer.
about? Spencer just about dumbfounded. Also, after you ran the ball down the field, why are you throwing in on third down from the 2? Don't get cute. Ram it down their throats on back-to-back plays, and if you're short, they're pinned. Also, didn't love the long handoffs on 3rd and 4th and 1. Use Child's big body for a quarterback sneak or do the Philly shove.
Yeah, this was the first game. When you listen to these, having watched it again, this is the first game where you feel like there are a lot of obvious mistakes. A lot of times the game is too complex for fans. We'll have a play or two we really understand, right? You kind of go, okay, because I watched the game. Like, when I watch basketball, and I'm not saying I'm some basketball savant, but I watch basketball.
You're not?
I watch basketball.
That's your whole bit.
I'm just saying I watch basketball with a different understanding than I watch football. Basketball, it happens in front of me, and I can understand why things work and don't. Usually matchups, lineups, all sorts of things. Football,
you can figure out 3rd and 1 and slow developing, though. And I don't give a shit what you
correct.
Come on.
But football, I'm a guy who likes to watch the ball, like a lot of people do. Whereas if you're really covering the sport at a high level, you may be watching the secondary or defensive lineman more. Yeah, you do a little, yeah.
Bo McJunkins, nothing will happen to Michigan for their role. MSU will be silent. In fact, the Big Ten will ask us to play 20 road basketball games, and we'd bend over backwards and say yes. We'll do more favors for the conference that repeatedly tramples us. Even Scott from Iowa can see it.
Scott Docterman taking strays.
Oh, Scott Doc.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Bonus, MSU's coaches should have to hear people tell them that they lost to Davis Warren, Alex Orji, and Kurt Campbell for the next 365 days. That was amateur hour coaching.
Don't worry, they will hear it, and that's part of how you get ingrained in the rivalry. Is you
Get one, like Matt C says, man.
Turn off your emails.
Sunshine Spartan, number 1, this loss is squarely on the coaching staff for trying to get points at the end of the half. If they take a knee, Spartans win. 2, big game next week versus the Packers. And 3, wife feels the Spartans always let her down no matter the coach.
Huh. I feel like there's been some good years.
What about Tucker had 11 wins?
Well, how about the Rose Bowl years?
Right,
your wife. Yeah, unless your wife is like under 8,
14.
We'll get into that sometimes.
That's weird.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to make that weird. I just made it weird. It's kind of my thing.
That's my thing.
Lions Packers 4:00 next week. Should be fun.
Malik Willis. Are we going to see Malik Willis?
I think so. That groin injury looked bad.
Hmm.
I'm
not scared of Malik Willis. Malik Willis is, what is he, 3-0, but he's beat all like shitty teams.
Yeah, and usually he's effective when he comes in, but I don't know if he's somebody. If you prepare for him all week, I don't know
scared
if he's effective.
Honestly, the Packers D is kind of can be scary, I guess. M. Van Fleet next. I don't feel like Coach Smith fully gets how intense the rivalry is and how much that game means to the overall mentality of the players and fans. Seeing him smiling and laughing with Sharon before the game was irritating as fuck.
I mean, that's the hard stuff, right? You have to have credibility in the rivalry before people are going to really not mind that. Like, people didn't mind Izzo yucking it up with Beeline because, Izzo had
Don't coach my team.
been around forever and won a lot and won in that rivalry forever. You know what I mean? Like, there's before you've done it, it feels.
But was he supposed to be like stone-faced, like not even look over at the side? Like, you can't manufacture it. It's just got to be who you are until it changes you. And I think it's changed him a little bit.
100%.
Beppe Plum, number one, MSU is a better team, but had a bad game. They are close to being good, then not far from being special. Hating on this team is not the answer. Being patient is, even if it sucks. People love patience. 2, the Lions are MF and goats, and the entire city hates me today because their Titans got poo-holed.
Oh, must live in Nashville. Titans.
I don't think. Do people in Nashville care?
Not a ton.
I don't think I was about to say.
We have to ask Joe Rexroad that because it doesn't.
Well, he cares. He's got to be up at 5 a.m.
But it would suck to be a Titans fan right now to not have the quarterback have missed there to fire a great coach like Vrabel and start no.
I don't know. Was Vrabel great?
I think he's a good coach.
He was solid. He was all right, but great.
No, I'm with you. Good takes, Pepe.
Fart soup, number one. I would rather be ass than almost good. A blowout loss to Michigan pisses me off substantially less than a loss where we should have won. And 2, Joe Rohan and his crew of Austin comic twat bags are a bunch of blowhard douchebags.
Thank you.
Who is that? Who's Joe Rohan?
Is this the guy in the Madison Square Garden guy? Is that who we're talking about here?
Oh, you mean Joe Rogan?
No, I don't.
It's ROHAN is what you put in here. And
that's what he wrote.
He means Joe Rogan.
Hold on. I thought it was like somebody else. I didn't think it was Joe Rogan. Hold on.
Austin comic? They're in Austin.
Are they in Austin?
Yeah, like Joe Rogan's in Austin now.
Oh,
he's talking about.
Come on, fart soup. You gotta.
I know what you're talking about.
You gotta double check your
Joe
work.
Rohan. All right, Hans Jurgen, number one. Tony Hinchcliffe. He did a thing at Trump's rally or something. Okay. Hans Jurgen, number one. Why didn't we throw it deep to Nick Marsh? We should throw it deep to him at least 3 times a game. 2, Go Blow needed trick plays to beat us. Moral victory. 3, we need more exotic blitzes and less exotic picks of Graham. And bonus, Indiana is ripe for the upset. All right.
A lot of people feeling that.
I guess.
We'll see. A lot of confidence. I feel like there's some brand disrespect with Indiana. I mean, they've been pretty good. But I am curious about this game, too. I'm game curious.
Jake Hawkins, number
I don't
one.
know what that means. What's game? Jesus. Sorry.
Gay curious. Jake Hawkins, number one, aside from outgaining Michigan in total yards and missed field goal that should have been easily made, I don't understand how and why MSU stopped being aggressive with the play calling or why they didn't try as many passes over the top with Will Johnson being out. 2, what also really bites the dust about losing this bitter rivalry game is not only is Sharon Moore the first Michigan coach in his first season to beat MSU in quite a while, but Michigan's OC, who came from Old Dominion and was questionable, actually looking like a motherfucking genius. And 3, I know we lost, but I'm sorry, both MSU and Indiana deserve better than to just be on Peacock this Saturday. Fox or Big Ten Network wasn't available at 3:30. Damn these networks for dangling financial carrots at conferences only to have them act like pimps rocking fur coats, gator shoes, and driving Cadillacs.
I love the imagery. They're Jake. Yeah, I mean, look, it stinks because you finally get the 3:30 game and it's not like CBS or something like that. It's Peacock. I think Peacock does a decent job. I like Peacock. I know it's hard to go back and forth between Peacock and other games, but if you're just locked in on that, plus the Premier League will end, you can flip on over. 3:30. I think most people would take 3:30 at this point and deal with Peacock, who are tight of the night game. The time slot wins out. It is not ideal, and I don't look. They held that game, waiting to see. I think if MSU had won, it might have been the noon game. It would have been interesting because they held that game for the 6-day window announcements. They held it till Sunday or late Saturday night to determine what time it was going to be. They were waiting to see if MSU would win. MSU could have won themselves out of Peacock.
No. Upper Deck Jerk Guy number 1, Jonathan Smith needs to get up and speed up on the rivalry by next year. This is Matt C's take? 2, this Lions team is a team of destiny. And 3, the number of people older than you never goes up.
Never. The wisdom we expect from you, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. It does suck in life. You're no longer the young person at some point. Yeah. I don't know where to go with that. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for producing our show and hanging with us and doing this late. And if we missed your take, apologies. It didn't do them in my usual flow, so it was a little tricky. We'll make it up to you, or won't. But we apologize. We appreciate Muskox. Go muskox.com. I'm telling you, if you want to look like the best version of yourself, be as comfortable as you can. Be comfortable this fall at a football game, at a backyard, at a tailgate, whatever it is. Muskox Flannels. Go muskox.com. Fix it in post is the promo code. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Great place for any occasion. And, of course, our friends at Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis, pureoptions.com. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.